Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sev Talks Money, where we share tools and tips to build wealth, crush debt, grow your business, and gain financial freedom. Today, I am excited to have a young lady with me who is returning to the broadcast. She is an entrepreneur. She's been an entrepreneur for over 6 years. And she just released her first of many, I'm sure, newly published book, Always After Me. So I want to share her bio with you for a few minutes, just share her bio with you, and then I am going to bring her into the broadcast. So, of course, her name is Sandy Edwards. She is a mindset coach, a spiritual alignment strategist, and visual brand consultant. She's going to tell us what all of those entail and how she can be a blessing to those of you who are watching, who are budding entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs. She's going to share her experiences and let you know how she can be a blessing to you in these areas. She partners with individuals to identify who they are, what they're called to do, and develop foundational strategies with an action plan that will enable them to walk in their purpose. And of course, she's the real deal because she's been doing that. She's been walking in her purpose for over 6 years. She is also a recently published author of the book, Always After Me. Without further ado, I want you to welcome with me to the broadcast Sandy Edwards.
Hey, I'm glad to be back. Thank you for having me
It is so
back.
great to have you. You've
Yeah.
always been such an inspiration and a supporter of everything that I do. So it is really my pleasure to have you here today. So I want to start off. You sent out a newsletter a few days ago, and I read it, and I was like, "This is what we need to start with." I mean,
Yeah.
you detailed your why, you
hmm
detailed your journey, the ups and downs of your journey. So go ahead and start with that. I want you to start with that. Tell me a little bit about your journey, your
Okay.
why. Why did you start entrepreneurship, and how is that going?
Okay. As you said, like I've been doing this for over 6 years. It started off like I just was a graphic designer. Graphic designing was something that I just did for myself as an independent music artist. Like I used to be heavy into music industry stuff, singing, leading worship, getting booked, going on tour, thing like that. Like I used to do designing graphics for myself. I handle all of my merch stuff, copying CDs, all of the graphics for tours and things like that. I handle it all. So then, like, I had people coming to me. They were like, "Hey, Sandy, like, can you do this? Like, you did all of this? Who handles all of this?" Like, I had people inquiring, and I was like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? This is something I'm really good at. Like, I'm really good at putting things together visually. Um, I didn't really take it seriously at that time. I just kind of was like, it's just something that I do here and there, a hobby. And I would do it for free for people and things like that just because I like doing it. I enjoyed it. So then I met my husband in 2016, and then we had our first child a year later, and I started. We just were living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, pinching pennies. Like
Yeah,
we were pinching
believe me, I
hard,
understand
like
that.
trying to survive, man. Um, and it was never our desire to put Owen, he's now 3, in daycare or anything like that. I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I also wanted to work and kind of help support and provide for my house. Um, and so like one night, like literally after he took a nap one day, I just was like, let me sit down and just pray because I see the potential to turn some of my gifting and things that I'm doing into a business. Like people are coming to me asking me to do this. I know that I can
Mm-hmm.
make money doing it. And so it just started with an idea. I'm like, I'm good at this. And then I got my first web design client. Um, and I was kind of scared to do it because I'm like, I've always done this for myself in the sense of web design, but never done it for anyone else.
Yeah.
And I did that, and slowly that turned into getting more clients and more referrals and more things. And then there was a time where I really wanted to quit. And this was all between 2016 and 2018. And so September 18th was when I actually launched Gracefully Design Co., which is my graphic design and visual brand consulting business. And it's been flourishing ever since.
Awesome.
Yes, and this year, at the top of January, going into February, I moved into a co-working space here locally, that would kind of help me branch out, and God has provided every single month, and I'm just thankful for what He's done. So that's the reason I do this, because it's a way to provide for my family, but I also enjoy bringing other people's vision to life and what they desire, and helping other people bring their dreams to the fullness. So
Yes,
that's it.
and that's what it was, what it's all about is what is it that people are coming to me and saying, can you help me with this? And how can you leverage that? Because it is obvious that's a skill. It is obvious that's a gift that can be a
Yeah.
blessing to other people, or they would not be asking for help in that area. And so, for those who are listening, this is the reason I brought Sandy on, because I wanted people, my audience, to understand that if you have a gift that if you have a gift that you can share with the world, it wasn't given to you for you to hide it under a bushel. It was given to you
Yep.
so you can be a blessing to other people. And then you can also bless your family and those around you.
Mm-hmm.
Alicia Richardson is saying, hi, Sandy. So happy for
Hey.
you. Thank you, Alicia, for joining us on the broadcast today. Now, in the introduction, Sandy, I mentioned three of your titles, and so give us a little bit about what those represent and how it is that you can be a blessing to the audience. Because again, this broadcast that I do every Sunday afternoon, it's built on four pillars. It is to build wealth, to crush debt, grow your business, and to gain financial freedom. So in everything that you're doing, I see those four pillars being manifested. So I want my audience to understand what the things that you're offering and how it is that it could possibly benefit them. So give us a breakdown of the things that you're doing and how it can be a blessing to the audience.
So with all of my clients, I offer all of these services to them as a package deal, with sometimes without them even knowing it. And the reason that I do that is because when it comes to your vision, none of the things that you are good at are as effective unless your mind is in a healthy place. And
Yes.
so I usually start off with a consultation call that really digs deep into mindset, like who you are as a person. Do you really understand how your gift can benefit others? Do you really understand how your vision that you want me to help you create can benefit others? And are you going to stick with it? Like,
Yeah.
is it beneficial? Is it healthy? How can this serve other people? Because for me, entrepreneurship is servanthood. So I
Yes.
serve my clients by also, as I'm working on their projects, kind of checking in mentally, like, where are you at? Like,
Mhm.
do you believe in yourself? Do you believe that your voice matters? Do you believe that what you have to offer matters? So mindset coaching, even though I kind of as well separate that for people who just need to dig deep into their belief systems and some of the things that are prohibiting them from walking in their God-given purpose. Even though I do offer that as a separate entity, it all ties in together with
Mhm.
visual brand consulting.
Yeah.
Um, for the spiritual alignment strategist part, I help people really narrow down unhealthy ways of thinking, unhealthy belief systems, to kind of really narrow in on some of the things that are prohibiting them from walking in their purpose. So it's a step up from mindset coaching, which is
Mhm.
mindset coaching. I'm just coaching you purely on the way that you think. With spiritual alignment strategists, that's for the people that I work with that are believers and they want to dig deep into why they can never cross over a certain barrier and things like that. So, and the visual brand consulting, I consult people on their vision and direction and launches and launch dates and all the things dealing with design and presentation and all of those things. So,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, awesome. And you talk about the mindset and understanding your focus and what it is that you want and the gifting. That is the same thing with personal finance. You know, I could give you a budget. I could help you create a budget. I could help you do all those things. But until it starts here,
Yes.
until you understand how you think and the things in your past that impact how you think, you may be successful for a little bit, but then eventually that success is going to go away because the mind has to drive your action. Hi, Beverly, and hi, Lenise. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Please share and invite your friends. Tell them to come on over, and we're having a great discussion that's going to benefit women entrepreneurs. So we want to make sure that as many people as possible hear the broadcast. Now, Sandy, share with us. You talk about a little bit about how the business came about, because there was a demand on the gift that you had. You already were manifesting the gifts, and there was a demand on the gift based on those around you. But really, how did you decide? As a multi-passionate, I understand that we can go all kinds of ways. So
Yeah.
how did you decide to hone in on this part of your business?
So for me, I don't speak on things that I don't, or I don't offer things that I know nothing about. And the
Hmm.
reason that I don't do that is because then I start confusing myself. Then my brand messaging is confusing. And then other people who are watching me, they are confused as well.
Hmm.
Um, so I've had to really, like, if I can give you a little bit of a backstory, like, again, I started off as just a musician, I was just a
Hmm.
singer, and I was touring and doing concerts and all the things. And I boxed my own self in because I thought, honestly, that was the only thing that I was called to do. I'm like, I'm only a worship leader, I'm only a singer, this is all I'm ever do. And I kept trying to pursue that. And God checked me one day. He was like, I put so many other gifts in you besides that one thing. And if you can just
Hmm.
trust me with this other thing that you are really good at, like, you can be good at so many other things too. You don't just have to do this one thing. And it came to down to it where I was confronted with this idea because I was like, um, I'm only called to the church. I'm only called to the actual building of the church. Like, I can't serve outside of that area. And God was like, no, I've called you to the marketplace too. Like,
Hmm.
you can do both. You don't
Yeah.
have to do just one thing. And so for me, it's been years of trying to come out of that mindset that everything that I do has to be in the sense for a building. Like,
Hmm.
God has given me gifts to be able to serve people who are not believers in the sense of um, really just mainly purely serving them and
Yeah.
not expecting that they're going to think like me, act like me, be like me, all the things, like using it to really glorify God in the
Yeah.
midst of a secular atmosphere. Like, the office that I work in, everybody here is not a believer. And I conduct my life and live it as if I am, but I don't expect other people to live that way. And
Yeah.
so um, I have worked with people who are not Christians. And, I have had to draw the line with some things that I won't do, and that I won't represent. However, I still am supposed to use my gifts to build up the kingdom,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
is that. So I've had to really really hone in on my boundaries, what I believe in, um, and servanthood. Really
Yeah.
hone in on servanthood because
Yeah.
it can
Because
be so
ex-
easy.
yeah, excellence is not confined to the church. It's not confined to any organization. It's not confined to any particular group. Excellence is excellence, whether we're
Yeah,
serving in the marketplace, in the church, using our gift and talent, wherever we're serving, that's your gift, that's your
yeah,
talent. So you're serving, and you're serving from a place of excellence wherever you are.
yeah.
So tell me, for those who are watching, give me a couple of things that you think that would be beneficial for somebody who's thinking about going into entrepreneurship. What are some traits or some practices that will help them be successful? Because again, no matter what you're going in, you're going to encounter obstacles. So tell me a couple of things that you think would be beneficial for somebody thinking of being going into business, or even somebody you've been in it for a while, even somebody who's been in business and they might be thinking about giving up. Give us some things that you can share with them, some tips.
I would say, a big one would be not thinking that you have to do it like everybody else does it.
Awesome. That's a great
Um,
tip.
Knowing what sets you apart and sticking with that.
Yeah.
Like for me, I know that there are, like, in my field of business and things like that, for marketing and all the things, I know that there are people who believe that there is one way you have to market something in order for people to buy a product. There is one way that you have to do this in order for people to do it. But I've I've really have seen that people will buy from you if you are consistent and if you show up. They
Yeah.
don't really care about all the other things. They want to know that you're a real person,
Hmm.
that you can identify with them, and that you know that they have pain points and they have needs that you can meet. That
Yes.
your company and things that you offer. So really just staying in your lane, doing what you are called to do, and not trying
Be
to pick up all these
authentic.
things. Yes, all these
Be
things
authentic.
that other
Don't.
people are doing, it doesn't matter. Like
Yes.
sticking with what you believe in, what you believe to be true, and doing it the way that God leads you to do it. And for people who are not believers, really just staying in your lane. If I can
Mhm.
simplify it, like really just doing the one thing. And also, I would say being integral in all your business affairs, having integrity. Because it shows when you are integral, people can tell. When you are lying and constantly falsifying information and things like that, like people can tell that too. It may
Yes.
look good,
Hmm.
um,
Yes.
but those
Truth
are
will
the
tell,
things.
as the old people used to say. Truth will tell.
Yes, your heart will start to speak,
Yes.
and um, especially right now with the time and season that we are in, being integral,
Yeah.
because integrity is the thing that sets us all apart,
Yes.
all apart.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and I will say as well, because this is something that I feel like isn't said mostly to entrepreneurs across the board, treating everything that you do like it's big,
Yeah.
not minimizing stuff just because, okay, well today I didn't make any money, so that means I didn't do a good job at being an
That is
entrepreneur today.
such an
And it's like,
awesome point. Oh my
yes,
word.
like treat everything that you do like it's the big thing. Be in
Yes.
love with everything you do. Don't just be like, okay, well, today I didn't make money, so that ain't a big deal. And it's like, no. If you spoke in conversation with someone and showed them that you love them, that's a big deal. If
Hmm.
you if you today crossed off one thing off your to-do list, which may include some days sitting and watching a show on Netflix, you did something that's a
Yes.
big deal. So it's like, treat everything, your life as an entrepreneur, treat everything like it's a big deal. Always celebrate, always clap for yourself.
Yes.
Clap for yourself. Don't wait for other people to clap for you. Keep your life a place of celebration.
Yes.
So,
This morning I was thinking about Bill Gates, because yeah, there are people who won't support you because you're small. And I thought about Bill Gates, and I thought about, Apple and Microsoft and IBM and all of those. They did not start big. They
yeah.
started small. And I'm
Amazon.
sure there are people who did not support them because they were quote unquote small. And, you know, the thing is, the word says, do not despise small beginnings.
Yeah.
And so you're right. You have to celebrate knowing that, like I'm doing this every Sunday, whether one person or nobody shows up. Every Sunday, I have committed at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time to be here sharing tips that's going to help people do the four things that I mentioned before. And it doesn't matter if nobody shows up.
Yeah.
My heart is passion. This is my passion, so I am going to do it. And so, yeah, you have to celebrate everything that you do in your business. You have to treat, last week I talked about, breaking your business into like a corporation, into departments. And each department, you're a CEO, you're doing a CEO function, you're doing a marketing function, you're doing all these different functions. You treat them like a company would, you know,
Mm-hmm.
there are set of, the CEO does certain things, the marketing person does certain things. And as you do
Yes.
it, you celebrate each part of that, because it's always going to come back to the whole. And as Beverly Harper just shared, she said, we put limits on ourselves. And it is so
Yeah.
true, because we put limits on ourselves. We put limits on the things that we've accomplished. We put limits on the things that we think we can accomplish. But every time I have to remind myself that none of these companies that we celebrate making millions and billions of dollars started making millions and billions of dollars.
Yep.
We have to celebrate the small thing. Walk with excellence, walk with integrity, whatever you're doing. If you serve one person, serve them 110%,
Yes.
because
Give your
that's
best
where
every
your
time.
business grow. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you serve that person, they are going to tell somebody else about your service. And
Yes.
again, even if nobody shows up, there are people who are always watching. They're watching to see what you're doing. And so
Mm-hmm.
you do it, you'll be consistent. As you
Yep.
said, be consistent. Be consistent in your excellence. And as you continue to do that, you'll be surprised the people that are impacted by what you're doing, even though you don't see it now. So yes, that is such a good thing that you just said. That is so awesome.
And also, too, I will say as well, like the other flip side of it is that I feel like nobody really talks about, except for like in the class and stuff that we took, 1K one day. But in the actual real world, when I'm on social media, especially on Instagram, and I see all these people who have like online courses and things like that, the one thing that is missing is, I feel like sometimes, vulnerability in a healthy way and transparency in a healthy way. And the reason I
Mhm.
say that is because I know for me as an entrepreneur, like my husband will tell you, like some days I'm just like, I feel so frustrated some days
Mhm.
because I'm just like, I feel like I'm out here talking, crying out in the wilderness, talking
To the
about
wind. Yes.
all of my business affairs, and nobody is supporting me. Da, 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 da. Like sometimes I go down that train of thought. And I
Mhm.
think that that is something that needs to be said, to say that, you know what, we all deal with that. We all struggle with that. We don't all, and my thing is, yes, you may have something that you can serve people with, but all of us don't have the answer to how to walk ourselves out of things. And so
Mhm.
I think sometimes it's understanding yourself enough to know that like you're human,
Mhm.
and some days you won't have clients, but like I just said, like appreciating those days where you don't have clients, to work on the back end of your business,
Mhm.
to work on
Yeah.
other things that you may need to work on, character development, being more professional, learning
Yes.
business ethics, like taking those moments where you don't, like, not always looking at it as a bad thing of, oh, okay, I don't have any paying clients right now, but taking those moments and being like, okay, well, you know what, today I don't have no clients, I can go wash my car, I can go
Mhm.
clean out my closet that need to be cleaned out. Like all those things that we can, instead of going down the path of being negative, like transform it into another way of thinking.
Mhm.
To say, you know what, today is a good day that I don't have clients, because those meetings and things that I would normally do any other day, I can go do the stuff that I've been putting off for months.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so things like that.
Yeah, and the thing too is, we see what's going on social media, and a lot of what we see on social media are lies. Let's be honest. A lot of what we see on social media are lies. People are putting out facades, and they're putting out this false sense of success. And so we think, because we're not
Yeah,
there, we're not
there.
successful. But I feel like I'm successful because every Sunday I have shown up
Yes.
since what is it, March? Since
Yep.
March, no, not
Yep.
March, since May,
Yep.
every Sunday I have shown up at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep.
And I have a message, And again, some Sundays I don't see any viewers watching, but I know that there are replays and I know that
Yeah.
somebody else will watch and somebody else will share. So I have a message and it doesn't matter, people with the millions of followers and the hundreds of
Mm-hmm.
thousands of followers, many of them are bought. I've been offered many
I have
times,
to. Yeah.
hey, I can get you 1,000 followers if you pay me
Yeah.
$25 or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you. I want to grow organically.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times when we see when people are upset or they are discouraged is because what they think they're seeing, they're not there, and so they get discouraged. But that's the reason, as you said, to stay in your lane and
Yes.
do
Keep your
what it is
eyes
that you're called to
and be
do.
busy doing what you be so
Busy.
busy.
Yes.
This is what I've been doing, and it has worked
Yes.
all year. I have seen more success this year than I have in the 6 years that I've been doing this. Why? Because I have been so busy doing what God called me to do that I
Hmm.
don't have time to be monitoring anyone else. If I
Yes.
do see it, it's because like literally I will, and the people that I interact, I notice like the algorithms on social media are this. The people you interact with the most are the most people that you're gonna see on your timeline. And I
Yes.
appreciate that because I see your stuff, I see everybody's stuff who just be, I mean, doing things like
Hmm.
I like seriously. I think it's just so key to keep your eyes on what you're
Yeah.
supposed to be doing and let everything else be what it is. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Um, I've serviced more clients this year since I've implemented that strategy into my own business.
Yes.
Just being a good steward. That's
Yes.
what it's about. Like being a good steward over your time, guarding your heart and your eyes as a business owner, and not getting caught in the comparison trap because you'll be like, oh, this person has that. I need to go buy that. And it's like,
Hmm.
no, 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 no. Like, no, no, no,
Yes.
no.
Chasing the shiny object.
Yeah.
Alicia said, I thank God for those days. It's almost like he is saying, girl, take a break. And that is so
Yes.
true. Because when those days come, sometimes because we think I'm supposed to be here, I'm supposed to do this.
Yes.
This person has been in business for 4 years and they're here. Why am I not there? But everybody has to run their own race at their own pace, and not everybody. We're all promised a reward, but like the parable where one person got hired at a certain time, the other person got hired at a certain time, but they all got the same pay. We're all promised a pay, but I can't keep my eye on your pay and thinking that's what I should get, because then I get off track trying to fabricate
Mm-hmm.
a victory or fabricate a process that's not really my natural process. So that
Ooh.
is so very true. So
And you
now
don't
let's
have
dive
to be
into the book.
busy every day.
you
You don't got to be
know,
busy every day.
COVID, to me, COVID is a blessing. And I
Yeah.
know people are losing their lives, people are losing their jobs. But for me,
Preach.
COVID has been a significant blessing because
Yes.
I've been able to work on so many other things. Like yesterday, I got up and we got up very late, just relaxed. I took Friday off, I didn't do much. And I got up and I had some things on my list and I got like 4 things done. And years ago, 10 years ago, I would have been beating myself up because I'm like, okay, I really want to do this, and the other, but I got 4 things done. And it's they're small things, but they're things that are foundational to moving on to other things. So just again, the message is stay in your lane, do what God's called you to do, walk in the spirit of excellence, walk in integrity, and the rewards will come. It may not come when when you think it should, or it might not come on based on somebody else's timeline, but it's going to come.
One last
So
thing before we move on from this,
mm,
though. Um, Another significant thing that I feel like COVID taught me was do everything that you do from a place of rest. Because when you're
mm,
not doing it from a place of rest and peace in God, you are all over the place. You don't know
yes,
which direction you're going in. You're not being as solid. And so
yeah,
for me, if I'm feeling anxious about anything, I stop in my tracks and I don't move forward because that
hmm
means whenever there's a sign of anxiety, that means I'm not resting in the Lord. And there's a
Yeah.
difference between feeling anxiety like you're scared to do something or
Mm.
fearful, between anxiety that comes from something that you shouldn't be doing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
not the appropriate season. So yeah.
Yes. All right, so we're gonna dive into Sandy's book a little bit. So give us a little background of the book and just a quick overview of and I can tell you listeners that this is a book about getting past yourself. It's a book about overcoming obstacles that's been put in your way and obstacles that you create for yourself. It's a book about triumph. It's a book about trusting in the gifts and trusting in your creator as to why he called you from. It's like Jonah, where he went off and he did everything he could not to preach the message to Nineveh, but he had to come back. So this is what this book's remind me of, and so this is my interpretation. So Sandy, I want you to give me your interpretation of what was in your mind, and of course there's also the theme of forgiveness. That's what I got in the book too. What in your mind? What it is that you want the reader to get from the book, and then I want you to share just a synopsis of the book so that a passage from the book so that our readers can or listeners can get an idea of what the book is about.
Okay. So, Always After Me is my personal story of triumph, forgiveness, life after divorce, all the things. I'm pretty sure that everyone can find themselves in this
Mhm.
book.
Yeah.
Overcoming trauma and all the things. And for me, what I want all of my readers, the people who will pick up this book, to understand is that it does not matter. Like, how horrible your life may have been, how
Mhm.
people may have treated you, what you may have done to get yourself into some of the situations that you've done. Like, God will never leave you. Even if it feels like that he has, in the midst of darkness, in the midst of a dark season, in the midst of a heartbreaking season,
Yeah.
whatever it is, God has no intentions and he never will leave you, um,
Yes.
or forsake you. And so, yeah, that's what I want my readers to get. And especially for women who are walking through a divorce, who have been in a situation of domestic violence, and um, even when it comes to parental relationships with your parents that you have a hard time forgiving and things like that, like transitioning out of your heart being hardened and allowing God to soften your heart and to understand some things about your parents that you may didn't understand,
Yeah.
and learning how to have grace with them and give them grace and extend forgiveness to them. So,
Yes.
yeah.
All right.
So I'm going to read a little bit of a passage of my book that really meant a lot to me, which it ties in what we talked about earlier. Um, there's a passage in my book in chapter 15 called Nuggets of Wisdom where I say, it took me wasting $75,000, marrying the wrong person, having a death experience and homelessness to see the cycle and get the help that I needed. Um, which all goes back to like mindset. Like, I
Mhm.
came into that money when I was 18 because of my father's death. And because I didn't have wisdom, I didn't know what to do with it. Um, and I did, like, my mom did give me some instructions on what to do with it, but I still chose to do my own thing. I chose to go my own way. I was rebellious, determined that I was going to do what I wanted to do, and nobody could tell me anything different.
We've
Um,
all been there.
yes, nobody could tell me anything different. And in that season of my life, I was very arrogant and prideful. And I had an answer for everything. Because I was so hurt, I was so bitter and everything, and I wanted to stunt on people who hurt me. So the way that I did that was by doing what I felt like I needed to do for my life to prove to other people that I know what's best for my life and I don't need your help to tell me. And so God, I went through a very humbling, a very humbling experience, and everything, which you'll read about in the book. But um, yeah, like God really taught me why humility is the way.
Hmm.
Humility, humble yourself, or you
Yeah.
will be humbled, but humble
Yeah.
yourself.
And no
So,
experience goes wasted, because
yep,
there are women who need to read this book, and that's why it was written. There are women who've gone through divorce, abusive relationships, that need to read this book, and it's going to help them be delivered. Because
yep,
for me, I've gone through divorce, and my thing was rebuilding my finance after divorce. And my experience is helping somebody else know that. And in my 50s, no less, with
yeah,
negative
yeah.
net
I
worth.
don't think most people know how old I am, but I am 26, y'all. 26. I ain't 30. I'm
Yeah, so
26.
your story is written for a particular set of women, and they will discover it. They
Yep.
will discover it. So again, thank you so much, Sandy, for sharing with us today. Now, do you want to leave us with any words of wisdom before I show your contact information? Any words of wisdom, last word of wisdom that you'd like to leave with us?
Um, if I could share anything, it would be right now to stay as close to Jesus as you can. Right
Hmm.
now. Stay as close
Yes.
to Jesus as you can. Right now.
Ooh. With the craziness in this world,
Yes.
yes,
That's all I
there's
can.
got you need an anchor. You need an anchor. Excuse me. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and show Sandy's contact information, her website, her this cough wants to come up. Her website, Facebook, where you can contact her on Facebook, and her Instagram. She's very active on Instagram. Her website is sandyedwards.co, not com, co. So it's sandyedwards.co. You can sign up for her newsletter and other things at her website. And then on Facebook, you can find her at facebook.com/Sandy E Official. That's Sandy E Official. And then, of course, Instagram, it's Sandy Edwards Official. So please go over there and follow her on Instagram, on Facebook, contact her on her website. And I can tell you that with my interaction with Sandy, I have been blessed by a lot of the things that she shares on Instagram. That's where mostly I interact with her. I've been blessed by a lot of what she shares on Instagram, and it challenges your thought, and that's what you want. You want somebody who's going to provoke your thought, who's going to provoke you to think beyond just going along with the status quo. And you might disagree, you might agree, but at least it provokes you to think. Is what I'm doing, is the are the things, the decisions that I'm making, how can I improve them? Or can I do I need to stop and go 180 degrees? um or do I need to, what do I need to do to pivot in my life so I can have the success that I need? So, Sandy, thank you again for joining us this afternoon. And thank you so much for all of my viewers, Beverly and Lenise and Alicia, who commented in the chat. Thank you so much. And for those who have not commented, but I know that you're there, and I appreciate you very, very much. So thank you so much, and I will see you here next Sunday. I will have another dynamic young lady, because again, we're doing our series on women in business. And everybody has a story that we can learn from. And so next Sunday, we will have another dynamic woman who is going to be sharing her entrepreneurial journey and sharing tips with us that we can put into action that can help us progress in our entrepreneurial journey. So again, thank you so much, everyone. See you next Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yes.